All right, let's move on to Kevin's question. He says, you always talk about the Lambo effect over the latte effect. Does that mean that it's okay to go out and get coffee every day before work? And can you explain what the Lambo effect and the latte effect is?
Yeah, there's a lot of financial folks out there who say, oh, if you would just cut out a coffee a day or cut out a coffee a week or stop going to the local coffee shop, that's going to be how you build wealth. And well, there's some truth in that, right? Like the marginal decisions can add up over time. If I do cut that out and I save that money and I start building, that can be productive over the long term. But what we see in most circumstances with the folks we interact with, the difference between those that build wealth and the difference at those who don't build wealth, it's not because they are drinking themselves into the poorhouse through going to the local coffee shop. It's the big life decisions, the cars that they're buying, the vacations they're going on, the homes they're purchasing are way too big for their lifestyle. So they are making Lambo decisions, not latte decisions, that are causing them to get derailed. So Kevin, your question you're asked is, okay, well, are you saying that it's okay if I go out and get a coffee every day? Maybe. It depends on where you are in your financial life cycle. If you're someone who's saving 20 to 25% and you're building for the future and you're following the financial order of operations, and going out and getting gourmet coffee or having someone else make your coffee is something that you derive value from, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Just like I'm not saying that it's bad to buy a Lamborghini. If you're a car person and you want to own a Lamborghini and you have the resources and the savings that would substantiate the ability to do that, that's okay. Too often people get that out of whack. It's the young person who's not even putting any money in the Roth IRA that's going to the coffee shop every other day. That's a problem. That's something that could be corrected. Or the young person that says, you know what, I can finance this car for 60 months, for 72 months, or I can buy the brand new car instead of the used car. Those are the kind of decisions we're trying to get you to avoid, not simply the consumption decisions that may or may not make sense in your circumstance.
Well, I look at this as a triage opportunity. You've got to look at your financial life and say, okay, let's prioritize. How do we get you in the best position as fast as possible? First thing, big decisions. The housing, the car payments, those are the things that are going to make you, if you buy too big of a house, you're going to be, house rich, life poor. Yep. If you buy too fancy of a car, you're totally gutting your potential to build 7-8 figure wealth in the long term. So, guys, we just reacted. And it's out there. If you go check out any of our feeds on TikTok, on Instagram, on Shorts with YouTube, where there's this trend where people have $800 to $1,500 car payments. Mm-hmm. Guys, that is literally 7 figures from your future self, just so you can look cool right now. So those big decisions are killers. That's why Bo talks about the Lambo effect over the latte effect. Now, let's triage, because that's the big thing. That's essentially like you got an artery cut, and we got to make sure we put the thumb in there to and seal it off so you don't bleed out right there on the spot. The latte effect is more of you've been injured in a way that you're obviously not in your peak form, and we have to quickly look at your situation. And if, yes, we find out that you're not saving and investing 20 to 25% for your future, but we look at in a very quick moment and say, wait a minute, is it true that I see, when I look at your monthly bank statement, I see that 4 times in the last week you refilled your Starbucks card? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh yeah, but you guys told me it's Lambo, not latte. But yeah, we're all about doing things that you enjoy, and I'll come back to that in a second. However, if I see a trend here where you're not doing what you need to, then I think you'd even need to focus on the death by 1,000 paper cuts, because in a triage situation, you might find that you're being poisoned slowly by your behavior. And I don't want you to feel like, hey, Brian and Bo said it's okay, rip and roar. I'll even buy a few for my friends too. No, we're not saying that at all. We're saying triage it. Make sure you don't make the big mistakes. But then if you're not doing the right things to get you through really the first 7 steps of the financial order of operations, then you don't get that luxury. Yep. It's one of those things where I think if you are saving and investing 20, 25%, that's the point Bo was making about that. Now you can do things. So take a deep breath, buy a nicer car if you so choose. You have a lot more freedom because you've already set the path for that automatic, inevitable wealth that you're creating. So I do want to close it out though with one thing though, because I think sometimes people they don't understand the value of scarcity, but also figuring out what actually gives you purpose and what you love. You know, we've been to quite a few conferences and other things, and somebody who does a really good talking about this is Ramit. When, you know, I'll teach you to be rich.
Ramit Sethi.
He does a great job of at conferences. I've seen him. He will have people stand up and he'll say, "Tell me what you love. What would you, if I could tell you, don't worry about money, don't do anything else, just tell me what you love and that you'd want to do more of." And for some people, it might be drinking coffee,
might be the coffee.
or it might be driving a nicer car, you know, or doing something. I'm not battling against that. I'm just saying, make sure you do the exercise of knowing what you love, what brings you purpose, and then you kind of put that into the context of the financial order of operations so that you are set up in a better place. What doesn't work is if you're a person that goes out and coffee, you know, you've done the whatever the DNA thing is, or it tells you if your caffeine has an impact on you versus not. 23andMe, I think, or whatever. Maybe you're one of those people that caffeine just is like, whatever, you know, but you're out there hanging out. If you don't actually get enjoyment, but you're still stopping because it's the social thing to do, you know, get that right. Do the exercise. What brings you joy? What do you like to do? Let's make sure the big things like the cars, the houses, and then the death by 1,000 paper cuts if you're still on the journey to get on that inevitable wealth building.